Listen carefully. That sound, it isn't just the wind moving through the trees. Out here, deep in the forest, when the world goes quiet and the last bit of sunlight fades, something else begins to stir. Most people think the forest sleeps at night, but that's not quite true. Under the soil, beneath the roots, the forest is awake, and it's talking. Not in words we can hear, but in messages that travel through the ground. Signals that pass from one tree to another, carried by invisible threads of fungi, connecting every living thing like a secret underground network. Some scientists call it the Wood Wide Web. But if you stand here long enough, if you close your eyes and just listen, you might start to notice the forest isn't silent at all. The trees whisper, they share warnings, they pass food, they remember. And the more we learn about them, the clearer it becomes. Forests are not collections of trees. They are communities, living, breathing, communicating worlds of their own. So what are they saying to each other? When the night falls and the world finally stops to listen. If you've ever stood in a forest at night, you know the feeling. That strange mix of stillness and movement, like the air itself is holding its breath. The moonlight filters through the canopy in thin silver lines, painting the ground in quiet patterns. Every sound, a leaf falling, a twig snapping, feels louder than it should. But beneath that still surface, something extraordinary is happening. Beneath your feet, thousands of roots are stretching, touching, wrapping around one another. They twist through the soil like slow-moving rivers. And in between them, so small you'd never see it, tiny fungal threads weave everything together, like threads in a web. That web doesn't just hold the forest up, it connects it. Through it, trees send food to their neighbors, warn each other about danger, even help the young and sick. It's easy to think of trees as individuals, tall, silent, standing alone. But in truth, they're part of something far larger, an underground society, alive with quiet conversation. And while the forest above seems asleep, below it's wide awake, exchanging messages, sharing life, one silent signal at a time. Ambiance deepens, soft hum under the soundscape. Camera pans through the roots underground, fade to black, brief pause. But how? How can a tree, a thing without eyes, ears, or a voice, actually communicate? That's where the real mystery begins. So here's the question. How does something without a mouth, without a brain, without ears, actually talk? How can a tree, rooted in one place its entire life, warn its neighbors about danger, or share its food with another tree meters away? Scientists used to believe that each tree was an island, competing for sunlight, water, and space. But when they started looking closer, what they found flipped that idea completely upside down. Because the forest isn't just a group of trees growing side by side. It's a living network, a connected organism where every root, every fungus, every leaf plays a part in a quiet, coordinated system. And here's the wildest part. These exchanges aren't random. They're intentional, directed, purposeful. One tree senses a threat, maybe insects chewing on its leaves, and within hours its neighbors begin producing defensive chemicals before the insects even reach them. So, what's really happening underground? What's carrying these signals? And who, or what, started this conversation in the first place? Pause, soft swell in music, then a subtle fade into quiet curiosity. To find out, we have to look beneath the surface, into a hidden world scientists are only just beginning to understand. When scientists first tried to figure out how trees might talk, they started underground, right here in the roots. What they found was something straight out of science fiction, a microscopic network of fungi, called mycorrhizae, weaving through the soil, connecting one tree to another like invisible fiber optics. These tiny fungal threads act like cables, linking the roots of different trees across entire forests. Through them, trees can pass chemical signals, carbon, water, and nutrients. A kind of biological internet scientists now call the Wood Wide Web. The idea might sound poetic, but it's backed by hard science. In the 1990s, a Canadian forest ecologist named Suzanne Simard made a discovery that changed how we see nature forever. She wanted to know whether trees really shared resources, or if each one was fighting to survive on its own. So she set up an experiment. In a quiet patch of forest, she labeled a few trees with radioactive carbon dioxide, a kind of chemical tracker, and waited. Days later, she found traces of that carbon inside the roots of completely different trees nearby. Somehow, the trees were sharing food. Simard ran the experiment again and again, with different species, different conditions, even different seasons. Every time, she saw the same result. What one tree produced, another received. It wasn't a fluke. It was communication. Older trees, what she called mother trees, sent carbon to younger seedlings shaded from the sun, literally feeding them so they could survive. Trees under attack from pests sent warning chemicals to others nearby, triggering them to strengthen their defenses before the danger reached them. The forest, it turned out, wasn't competing. It was cooperating. Soft pause, a faint shimmer of light spreads through the underground network. Think about that. A forest, thousands of trees, millions of fungi, billions of tiny connections, all working together in real time. It's like the planet's oldest social network, built not on technology, but on trust. And every night, while we sleep, that network is alive. Signals traveling silently beneath the soil, keeping the entire forest in balance. Ambient tone rises. Glowing threads intertwine into a vast, breathing organism. Fade slowly into next section. But what happens when we zoom in even closer? When we look at what the trees are doing while the rest of the world is asleep? When the sun finally disappears, the forest doesn't fall silent. It just changes tempo. The same network that shares food and warnings during the day now hums with a slower, deeper rhythm. Roots stretch farther through the soil, drawing up moisture. Sugars created in daylight begin to move, not up, but down, into the roots, spreading across the underground network like a quiet river of energy. In a way, the forest is breathing differently now. Scientists call this part of a tree's circadian rhythm, the same kind of internal clock that tells us when to sleep or wake. Except in trees, it controls growth, nutrient flow, and the subtle chemistry of life itself. At night, the trees send more carbon below ground, feeding the fungi that connect them. Those fungi, in return, ferry minerals and nitrogen back toward the roots. It's a perfect trade, a nightly exchange that keeps the entire ecosystem alive. If you could see it, it would look like veins glowing softly under the forest floor, light pulsing between roots, signaling, feeding, responding. A conversation of life in slow motion. It's easy to think of nature as quiet, but in truth, every night, forests are alive with movement, just slower, quieter, more deliberate. Even the leaves above seem to shift slightly in their sleep, changing position to conserve moisture or prepare for dawn. Some trees almost droop, as if resting after a long day of work under the sun. While we sleep, the forest is still awake, not chaotic, not busy, but synchronized. Every root, every leaf, every living thread working together in a pattern older than memory. And maybe that's what the whispers really are. Not noise, but rhythm. The slow, steady pulse of an ancient world keeping itself alive, one quiet breath at a time. If you look at a forest now, really look, it's impossible to see it as a collection of separate trees. It's a community. Every tree that falls, every root that stretches, every seed that takes hold, all of it feeds back into the network. When one tree suffers, others respond. When one thrives, it shares. It's a system built not on competition, but connection. And that changes everything we thought we knew about nature. For so long, we imagined forests as battlefields, trees fighting for sunlight, clawing for space. But the truth is the opposite. They survive because they support each other. The same ancient cooperation that happens beneath the soil keeps the entire ecosystem stable. The water clean, the air breathable, the ground fertile. When we cut through that network, when we destroy those connections, the damage ripples far beyond what we see. It's not just the loss of trees. It's the silencing of an entire conversation that's been happening for millions of years. But there's another side to that story. When we protect the forest, when we replant, restore, and reconnect, the whispers come back. Roots find roots. Fungi rebuild their bridges. The network heals itself, thread by thread. And maybe, in that resilience, there's something we can learn too. Because we're not so different. Like the trees, we depend on invisible networks of people, communities, and kindness to survive. When we share, when we protect one another, we grow stronger together. The forest has been doing that for millions of years. Maybe it's been trying to teach us all along. So the next time you find yourself standing in a forest at night, stop. Listen. Beneath your feet, in the quiet earth, a conversation is still flowing. Slow, patient, and full of life. Every tree, every root, every living thread is part of something far older and wiser than we can imagine. They whisper warnings and promises, stories of survival, of growth, of connection. They whisper because they have always whispered, since long before we arrived and long after we're gone. Maybe that's what makes the forest so timeless. It remembers, it listens, it speaks, softly, in a language we're only just beginning to understand. So if you ever think the night is silent, listen again. The trees are still whispering. If the forest could tell its story, this would just be one chapter. There are countless more, hidden in the ocean, the desert, even the air we breathe. So if you want to keep exploring the quiet secrets of our planet, stay close. There's always another whisper waiting to be heard.